welcome to Mera Desi Swag. In this video, we're going to talk about how adjectives can help us look at the few options as not that great options. When we talk about adjectives, think of the words only, always, every, of you. So let's say if the world was divided between people and only some people had most privileges, well, which is the case, how would it feel? But would it mean that those privileges will be forever provided to just those people? Or could there be possibilities in a world of possibilities that we live? We have a chance to be better than who we are, what we are, how we are, and a chance to be worse than what we are. So as long as we have chances, we have faith, we have trust, we continue to believe in life. Similarly, in UPSC CSAT, when we get passages that talk about certain things, certain aspects of being, certain theories, and then give us questions, what we must do as candidates is to understand which options suggest possibilities, because the world harps upon possibilities. Hope sustains life. Now let's get more practical. Let's move from an abstract discussion to more concrete discussion. And for that, let's look at one very short passage together. This passage talks about a certain species of birds. Have you heard this name before? Assuming you're preparing for a civil service examination, you may have flamingos. Now, it is your chance to pause the video and look at this passage, or go to the description box if the screen is not very clear to you, and give it a reading. Answer the question that follows. So I give you 5 minutes. And as I count 5, I would assume you would have paused and would have come back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm assuming you're reading. Now come back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. So flamingos in large flock in the wild are social, extremely loyal. They perform group mating dances. Parents are very fond of the chicks, gathering them into creches for protection while both males and females fly off to search for good. Wow, what a great system. Which among the following is the most logical corollary to the above passage? Corollary is what flows from the passage, the idea that flows from the passage. In this case, most logically flows from the passage. You've got to find that idea. So the first option says mass nesting in all species of birds. Now look at the word all. Have we discussed all species of birds in this passage? There is a possibility we could have. There is a possibility this passage is extracted from a longer passage that talks about all species of birds. However, we have a limited context right in front of us, which is just flamingos. So all becomes not that great an option. What about option number 2? Only birds have the capacity to develop social behavior and thus can do mass nesting to raise their chicks in safety. Only birds. Now this passage doesn't talk about animals not having that kind of behavior, that kind of social behavior. So we cannot rule out that possibility either. Hence, only becomes an indicator that this option as well is not that great a choice. Moving on to the third option, social behavior in some species of birds. Now, the question is, some species, this passage talks about just one species. So where are the other species that can be clubbed together with this species, which is flamingos? Increases the odds of survival in an unsafe world. However, we can park this option because it still includes flamingos to some extent, unless we find a better option, because so far we've killed the other two options, first two options. Now we're left just with one more option, and we can see that the last option here, all species, also carries all. So we're going to look at the third option as a possible option choice. Fourth option, all species of birds set up creches for their chicks to teach them social behavior and loyalty. Now, mass nesting, all species of birds, and we were not very clear about mass nesting either being discussed that much, but we could have taken that hint. However, the first option and the last option are very much similar. They talk about all. The second option talks about only, and our data, our sample size is not that great. In absence of a great sample size, we are left with just one option, which is the third option. Now, I understand this discussion is pretty limited, so I would want you to write to me to explore this topic more if required. For now, I would sum it up with saying, when you get these options, all, only, some, all, be careful. So the answer to that was some species. Similarly, in life, when you talk about generalization, let's say your friend tells you a lie only once or maybe occasionally, and you tell that friend off each time you meet that friend, saying, you do it all the time, you do it always. That's an emotional judgment. When you are doing a passage, when you are looking at bureaucracy and being an aspirant, you have to remain open to possibilities. So in friendships also, in relationships also, you say, okay, that one time I got a bit pissed off with what happened. I thought I was being told something that was not a fact. Same the way when one person cheats you, you say everybody cheats me. You know, this is what you're manifesting. So same formula, simple basic fundamentals can apply can be applied in doing passages too. What you've got to avoid, words like all, never, always, will, definitely, certainly, unless the passage itself says that it is what happens all the time. You sort of pay attention to these words and look at words like some, may, possibilities, more, safely. Those options will give you safer choices. We'll talk more as I discuss more passages. I'll bring this discussion in more details. Thank you for joining me, Radhi.